was a great response from Noah. I got to give him that.
Yeah.
Thor battled back. He didn't just sit there and take it. I mean, listen, I have a lot of Met fan friends and stuff, and they had this daunting staff that looked really good, and now all of a sudden,
Generation K, same thing, bro.
No, it happens a lot, and it happens to the Mets a lot. That 86 team, the 85, 86 Met, I mean, the fact that they won one World Series is sad.
I know.
With that staff, with Gooden and Darling, Ojeda, not that he was a stud, but Aguilera was on that staff. I mean, they were really, really good. Sid Fernandez, who for 6 innings could get anybody out. In today's baseball, he would have been the Cy Young winner every year.
Yeah,
that guy could go 5 1/3 and no hit everybody. But back in the day, they expected you to go 8, and El Fatso could not do it.
I tell you, he was a star before his time.
Oh, he would have been dominant. I swear to God, 6 innings. That guy could give you 6 innings standing on his head, and then he would just tire. And it was just listen. We know he's fat.
He's fat.
We know. We live it. We live the dream.
I lose my breath walking to the fridge to get pizza. So
I lost my breath turning on the laptop. But anyway, we move on.
I see the ampersand too behind you, by the way.
I like to leave that ampersand up for you. I was going to take it down. I was like, no, Bill likes it.
It's such a turn on.
It is. That's what I was going for.
So let's just stick with baseball, and we'll stick with the Mets. Billy Epler finally hired, which to me is hysterical. That the biggest problem with Billy Epler when he was in Anaheim was the lack of pitching. They always had decent offense, lack of pitching. Before he even gets to the Mets, they lose a pitcher that goes back to Anaheim.
So Billy Epler's, and not every move was his.
Right.
But you get Pujols and you don't win.
Right.
You have the best player in baseball, Mike Trout. Best player in the game. Went healthy.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to shoot down Wander Franco, who's about to get a huge contract. Not trying to shoot down Acuna, Fernando Tatis, all these guys that are great guys. Best player in the game is Trout when he's healthy. He just is. 100%. He can do a million things, just a hustler looking. They don't even make the playoffs.
No, it's been awful.
That's who the Mets wanted.
Yep. Listen, let me tell you something.
As a Jet fan, I relate, but I don't get it.
A little inside information for you. You got to remember the Mets got their 13th choice. Okay?
Yeah, you're right.
But I'm going to tell you, my son plays a lot of travel ball.
I do.
A lot of travel ball. Well, so quick story. My son is he's been going to a trainer, a personal trainer, and they know people deep inside baseball. I'm not going to say which team, but they called him and wanted him to take the job. This guy's about 2 years away from becoming the general manager of his team right now, that he's been with, and he's been growing up and he's been trying to build the team and get it straightened out. So he turned him down. He said, absolutely not. He says that team is a mess from their from the fact that the expectations to be really, really good, really, really fast without any kind of a farm system, really don't have a solid plan, and just the way the atmosphere there. That's why everybody said no. Billy Epler was sitting on the couch. He had nothing else to do.
I would have taken the job as well.
Me too.
I don't know if I'm up to Billy Epler's standard, but I might have been close.
I just hope for the Mets' sake that Billy Epler can get, can do something. But again, I know this is a football fantasy show, fantasy football, but you see Steve Cohen is also getting pissed off at Steven Matz's agent. Did you see that today?
Steven Matz signs a deal with the Cardinals, which basically just tells you he's going to be good.
Yeah.
Because when the Cardinals sign these guys, they just turn out good. I know Duncan's not there anymore. I get it.
Right.
But it doesn't matter. The Cardinals find a way to be competitive every year, no matter what. It cracks me up. They're probably the most consistent team over the last 25 years in baseball, maybe 30. They're just consistent.
I got to tell you, the fact that he left New York is probably the best thing for his career. He had a great season. He had a very good season last year. But again, Matz is one of those guys that he has 1 or 2 games that he can't get out of the first inning. Now, I guess you should take him out when he gives up 9 runs in the first inning. But you take those games out, his ERA and his whip is a lot better than what it turns out to be. Is he a superstar? No, he's a good pitcher.
Here's the thing, though. Lefties sometimes develop a little later.
Mm-hmm.
And you've seen that over the years with guys that just start off the first 4 or 5 years and they flounder, and then all of a sudden they put it together. He's got the stuff. It's going to be interesting to see. I mean, I think that Steven Matz is going to get drafted in our fantasy baseball league earlier than usual. Let's put it that way. Somebody is going to make a jump on that.
Of course, the Freed brothers. Of course, that's going to happen. That's just
the Freed brothers will be on top of it, but there'll be a couple of others.
And if not, Kevin will take them.
Kevin, yeah. Well, we have a lot of Met fans in the league, and it's very exciting to watch. Mets go like hotcakes.
Very much so.
It's freaking hysterical. People go crazy for a fourth place team out of five. They go nuts. I mean, it's funny to watch. Now the Mets are in the situation, much like we talked about, though. I mean, the Braves are now the defending champs. The Nats have given up. The Marlins are young. Last year was a disappointment after what they put on together 2 years ago. Yeah. And the Phillies are up and coming, right? So really, it's a battle for third with the Marlins right now, unless they show something. To get themselves into the top two and into the playoffs.
And I think because the team is such a mess and they've had such a history of being a mess, it's great that you're going to give me $341 million, but I want to win a World Series, and I'm not going to do it with you.
No, you're 100% right.
So
that's the way it works.
So that'll be interesting to see. Plus, Matt's his wife he's from Tennessee, so he lives in Tennessee. St. Louis is a lot closer than anywhere else. So
he's a Midwestern boy now. He's no longer a Stony Brook kid.
Yeah. So, and by the way, the Mets, not that he was a superstar, but this goes to show you nobody wants to play for you. They lost Aaron Luke to the Anaheim Angels as well. 2 years, $17 million.
Crazy.
Now, you mentioned him briefly, Wander Franco. See, and this is why the Rays are so dang good. They signed this guy. You know what? The first few years, they're overpaying him. But over the length of this 12-year, $185 million contract, they're going to get a guy who should be making $35, $40 million playing for them for $20 million.
And the thing about it that's so great is that you're going to have him through his 20s, right? You're going to have him into what was 31, basically the contract ends, right?
Yeah.
So it's like you have all the peak years. Now, knowing the Rays, there's a good chance 5 years from now they trade him. And they acquire more assets because they know they don't want to have payroll that high.
Right.
But it gives it. He became one of the best players in baseball in a very short amount of time last year.
I know.
He's really special, man. He's good. And because you hear about a lot of these guys. I mean, remember Jurickson Profar? You couldn't stop hearing about him.
Oh, what he hit like 209?
A lot of these guys never do anything, but this kid lived up to the hype. And he's going to keep the Rays as a competitive team for a long time. This is a team that doesn't have a ton of household talent, but they have a bunch of guys that throw 99 in the bullpen that could go one inning. They got a couple of solid starters that you could utilize, and they produce enough offense to win. And then you get a superstar shortstop like Franco and forget about it.
They're smart. They're great baseball people with lousy fans.
Yeah, basically they should be in Montreal or I don't care where they go. I mean, the Montreal thing is kind of exciting just because, you miss the Expos. But
most of the fans, by the time Wander Franco can have a beer legally, they're going to be dead anyway. I mean, St. Pete.
It's crazy. Tampa is just a bad stadium. It's a bad experience.
Very
it should
bad.
be Yankees minor league home, and that's about it because they really don't do very well.
Actually,
for a good team, they don't draw for shit.
The single A Yankees actually draw better.
I know, it's sad. It's really sad.
They really do. If the Yankees or the Red Sox aren't in town, that stadium's empty. Which is
or if there's an interleague game with the Phillies or the Mets. That's it. Right. That's all they got.
And that's because the Phillies are from Clearwater during spring training. So
exactly. They love them. And the people from Philly will go down there because the seats are cheaper than they are in Philly.
Right.
That's what it comes down to.
That's what it comes down to. We'll find out what happens with baseball. They've got another week to try to sign players because they're definitely getting locked out. Don't think it's going to miss any baseball time. But what we were just talking about, a smart move, because this is what the players want. The players are upset that they can't get to free agency until 6 years after they've into their contract. And by that time, they're 30 years old, 31 years old. Their best years are behind them. Then people don't want to pay them for what they've done in the past. So that's what they're fighting for.
Do you see these contracts? Do you see these contracts for marginal players going on though right now?
Because
we just mentioned two. We mentioned Mats. I'm serious. I mean, these are guys that are average players. I mean, what's Mats? 4 for 44, something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, so it's like he's making $11 million a year. I don't think he's ever had a season with his ERA below 4. I'm just saying.
Well, last year, but that's
I mean, that was close though. It's not like he had it by a lot. What do you have? A 3.96, 3.86? Get out of here.
3.87, jerk.
3.87. I mean, let's not call Steven Matz a stud, but
I'm not gonna keep standing up for him because he obviously changed his phone number and he didn't give me the new one. So screw you.
Not a fan of you, Mr. Powers.
Not anymore.
So we're 25 minutes in. Should we get to football yet or not yet?
What's football?
Exactly. But by the way, I love the fact that LeBron got into a fight. And the other guy got bloodied and got an extra day suspension, but whatever.
I
don't watch the NBA much because I like team sports where they actually play as a team, and they don't point to the back of their jersey more than the front. So I don't love the NBA in that respect. Love the sport of basketball. Just don't like the way the game is played. 3-and-D and a bunch of guys patting themselves on the back every chance they can. And I hate LeBron.
The team shoots 25% and they win 112 to 111.
Yeah, it's a weird thing, but it was nice to see a good old fashioned fist fight in the crowd. Detroit's usually involved in them. We all remember the event with Steven Jackson and Ron Artest. So Detroit usually involved, makes it fun.
I just can't stand basketball. I'm just not a basketball guy. Never have been.
No, I like it, but I don't love it. I don't love the NBA. I prefer the college game by a lot. Last thing before we get to football.
That's a great explanation, by the way.
I love the college game. I love the sport. I just don't like the NBA. I don't like the way they play. I find the game pretty well boring. I don't know. I think it's been rigged for years.
You know what? We need to skip weeks every once in a blue moon because I'm really enjoying the show so far.
Well, both of us are. I don't know if anybody else is. So we live on Long Island, both of us, and something amazing happened. A brand new stop on the LIRR was built for the first time in 40 years for the new UBS Arena.
Yeah, I got to stay silent on this one, my friend.
Well, I'm going to say something.
Please feel free.
It's exciting because not only was the arena built in a place where traffic has always been a nightmare. Now it's just 10 times worse.
Right.
And there's no parking, and parking is a mess, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not only did that happen, but now they've built this platform where you have to take a shuttle bus to get to the arena. And you're just saying to yourself, well, what the heck is going on? Welcome to Long Island, folks, where our tax dollars go to so many intelligent things.
To be fair,
apparently the arenas are gorgeous, by the way.
Right.
Well, I'll let you be fair.
To be fair, the walk from the train to Citi Field is kind of extensive. The problem is you're doing that in 80-degree weather as opposed to 8-degree weather.
And you have like a covering, and you're not walking through a crap neighborhood, but you are, but you're not really. You're walking right into the stadium. It is a little bit of a walk from the railroad, but you don't have to take a bus.
Right.
You don't have to wait for a bus in January on a Tuesday night.
I love how
12-degree weather.
They're all excited. Look what our owner did for us. They built us a new arena. We now have a home and stuff like that. Here's the problem. Where they built it, it depends on what side of the arena you sit in, whether or not you've been vaccinated or not, that you're allowed to sit there. Because it's like pretty much right on the border. Whether you like it or not, it's a Queens arena.
It is. It's at Belmont Racetrack. The Islanders showed how good they are by losing their first 2 at home.
Very impressive.
Well, I root for the Calgary Flames. Very excited about the first one, and I got to tease some people. It's just interesting that that you would build an arena where you need to take a shuttle bus in the middle of winter to go back and forth to the if you take the railroad. It's just one of those things. A lot of cities don't have the public transportation we have in our market, but we do have it. And for the Rangers, you take it into the garden, you go upstairs, and you're there. You never taste the cold.
You know what they should have done? They should have built a monorail from the train station to the arena.
You're probably not wrong. So now that we're 29 minutes in, it might be time for football.
A little bit of football because I have to vamoose in a couple of minutes. So
yeah, we're gonna go quick. First and foremost, thank you, Roger Goodell, the NFL, the schedule makers, for giving us 3 treats on Thanksgiving.
Fantastic.
I mean, Detroit has been, listen.
To be fair,